Brian Smith. And what I want to call you today and forever on is Mr. UGG.
I love it.
Welcome to the Fieldswell Podcast.
Thank you, Lauren. I'm glad to be here.
It's such an honor to have you here with us today. So I've just finished reading your book,
Right.
The Birth of a Brand. You have built one of the most iconic brands, lifestyle brands in the history of all branding.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. How does that feel?
It's amazing. I never get tired of hearing people tell me that the first pair of UGG boots they ever had, and some of them go back 45 years, you know?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
You see me, I'm here with my UGGs on.
Yeah, I saw that.
Danielle's wearing her UGGs, and we have the first ever UGG boot here with us
I thought
today.
I was doing this along as a prop. This is the very first sample that I brought in from Australia when I realized that that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just amazing how the brand built from this, you know, and it's a great example for a lot of your listeners who may be thinking that they're about to start their business, but it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
You know, the software is almost done, but it's not perfect, or the product's almost there, but it's not. I need one, you know.
Right.
To hell with all that. If we can start a $2 billion brand
Oh my gosh.
with this,
Yes.
I mean, look, there's no heel counter, there's no binding, there's no cross section here. This is all glue on the top and glue around the bottom.
Wow.
I mean, that's what I started with. And if I could do that, then I just want to tell all you entrepreneurs out there, just get started, give it out to somebody, and the feedback you get will be so good and so fast that it'll just catapult you on the
Totally.
you know, the road.
Launch fast and then adjust.
Yeah.
We spend so much time waiting for it to be perfect.
It never happens.
No, we need that. Clarity comes after we take action.
That's right.
The information, the feedback we need to improve.
And the people who get the first product that's not perfect, they're going to like you even more because they're involved now in helping you build it. So it's a real win-win situation.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So I was drawn to the perseverance, the grit, the heart that went into your story, because many people can see UGG now and say, wow, look at this big, beautiful, massive brand. Yes. But the first days were not as glorious.
Yeah, it was tough. When I had the first aha, I'd come to America looking for a business to take back to Australia. I'd never planned to stay here. But I was surfing at Malibu, and after about 4 or 5 months of being here, and I finished surfing. I was pulling on my UGG boots after surfing, and which we all do in Australia. And I just went, oh my God, there are no sheepskin boots in America. So that was the aha. And 1 in 2 Australians own some sort of sheepskin footwear. So I thought, oh man, we're going to be instant millionaires, you know?
Brilliance,
which every entrepreneur does. I mean, that's when you have that first aha moment, you're going to change the world, and it's a brilliant thing. But, you know, unfortunately, every business is the same, and I've studied this for 40 years, but it's outlined in my book. And the theme of the book is that you can't give birth to adults.
I love this so much.
You have to, like I had the aha moment, that's like conception.
Yeah.
And then we went back and bought some samples. That was the birth of UGG. And then it just lay there. And it lay there for years. It just lay there. And it's so natural because an infant can't get up and go to college.
Right.
You know, an infant has to be an infant. But if you keep feeding it and jiggling the cradle, you know, it'll eventually start toddling, which is a fabulous phase, you know, because your friends are all talking about you and the magazines are writing articles about you. And then you get into the youth phase, which is the best because all the systems, purchasing, supply, sales, admins, all working. You run a $20 million business in that youth phase. But if it's a really great product or a really great service that you've developed, you're going to hit the teenage years, and that's super dangerous because remember you wanted to be in every party in town on a Saturday night?
Yes.
It's the same in business. You want to be in every major trade show and mass retailer, and suicidal. If you get caught up in that, you can lose your business like overnight.
Just trying to do too much.
Too much too quick without the capital. But eventually the people put all the controls in, it becomes mature. So it's exactly like a
I just
life
love
cycle.
this metaphor to the human growth cycle.
It's fantastic.
Because we all think it's going, and what we want is this booming success overnight, but that's not reality. And it's so helpful to hear that from you, who's built one of the biggest lifestyle brands in the world, that it takes time.
It does.
And it takes a lot of time.
It does. And I did a bit of research. We got shut out by the shoe stores. They couldn't understand sheepskin in California, right? But the surf shops, so many Australian or US surfers had been to Australia and come back with UGG boots for their buddies. So we started selling through the surf shops. And when we went and showed the samples, it was like, oh my God, you're going to make a fortune, So I raised money and bought 500 pairs.
Yeah.
And thinking these are going to
sell out overnight. Yeah.
We went back on the road and we sold 28 pairs in the first season, that did December.
Wow.
And that was like so demoralizing. If ever I wanted to give up, that was one of the times, right? But I still had 480 pairs left in the bedroom. So
what were you to do but to keep going? And a resounding theme in your book was, do I give up or do I keep going?
So many times I could have given up.
And what was it that really kept you going in those most difficult moments?
Every time that I wanted to give up, and there were 3 or 4 that I mentioned in my book, I had to come to Jesus and say, well, look, 1 in 2 Australians wears these. So it's not the product's fault, it's mine, right? So what am I doing wrong? And it had to keep coming back to revisit that. And every time I would, I'd say, God, it's not the product, it's me. And that would give me something to, make me go forward and try and overcome. Because business doesn't start here and go straight to the top, you know. It goes along, you hit a wall, you got to figure out a way around it, over it, and you cruise along, you hit another wall. And it's that, all those times you find a solution from the blockage is when you grow, and if your competitors don't figure out a way, you get market share. And so it's just this incredible, drive to keep going. It's very difficult at times.
The drive and the persistence, but it's the full accountability that this is on me. And if there are other people who are making this happen, why can't I do it too?
Exactly, yes.
So I loved one of the things you talked about in the book was focusing on the human relationship. As you started visiting all these surf shops or going to these trade shows, focusing on connecting with the individual at a human level as opposed to leading in with the sale or the product.
Yes. It took several years. Number one, I was so embarrassed selling a sheepskin boot like this in a surf shop, right? Because it didn't really fit, right? But I would be really sheepish going in, but eventually, after 3 or 4 years, I was starting to get opening up a lot of surf shops all up and down the coast and on the East Coast as well. But the sales were dribbling out, and I'd been doing all this advertising with these beautiful models on the beach,
and their Uggs.
and perfect hair and clothes and the big tall UGG boots, And I did that for like 3 years, but the sales just didn't do anything. Like $20,000. The next year was 25. The next year was 30. And eventually I was having a beer with one of my buddies down in Ocean Beach in San Diego. And I was saying, God, Rob, I don't know what I'm doing wrong with the advertising. He just said, shut up, Brian. And he calls out back to, like a half a dozen 12, 13-year-old grommets, and he's just, all he said was, hey, you guys, what do you think of Uggs? And every one of them just went, oh, those Uggs, man, they're so fake. Have you seen those ads? Those models, they can't surf. And like instantly I realized I'm sending the wrong message to my target market. I was trying to get those kids really into Ugg boots. I was doing not bad advertising. I was killing the brand. Because it wasn't what, But anyway, I bounced. That was one of those really big walls I hit. And then I thought, I had a buddy up in Orange County who was running a Scholastic surf team. I said, Pete, do you have any young kids who are going to turn pro soon? Because, I can't really pay them much. But anyway, he gave me 2 guys, Mike Parsons and Ted Robinson. And I just went to 2 surf spots, Black's Beach in La Jolla. I'm pretty sure you know that. And Trestles up in San Onofre. And it's a mile to get to the water and a fantastic surf when you get there. And I just took my little Canon Sure Shot and I'm taking photos of them walking to and from the beach and everything. And I just selected 2 photos and I ran, ads October, November, December in Surfing Magazine and all that. Sales went to $220,000.
Wow.
You know why? Because I'd finally figured out what advertising and marketing is, and that is you want to get the reader or the viewer into whatever image you have, whether it's on a website or whether it's in a magazine ad or whether it's on Instagram or what. You want your consumer to just want to be in that ad.
Yeah.
And what happened is every little kid would die to be walking along those paths with Mike and Ted, And that's, that 220,000 spike was just the beginning after that, because I started what became a cult, like, Mom, all the cool kids at high school have got a pair of UGG boots. I want some for Christmas, Yeah. And so, the kids don't have any money, but mom does.
Right.
And so that's what fed this thing to where it became so cool that, I had a few competitors starting out, and if the moms bought the competitors because they were cheaper or whatever, the kids refused to wear them to school. They said, I'm not wearing fake UGG boots.
Were they thugs? Did someone call them
thugs? Was one of them, yeah. And so it was an incredible lesson for me. It took 5 years, but it taught me what it is to build a brand.
So go even deeper in like a takeaway for our audience.
Okay.
That shift from how you were marketing it with models on the beach, did it not seem attainable to your target customer? Or what was that shift that really unlocked the marketing secret to success for you?
The secret came back to credibility. When I was doing those fake ads, with the models and everything, all the kids could see, that's just so fake. I'm not going to buy those, right? But when I nailed it and got these young kids, when they were like what you would call today influencers, right? And every kid wanted to be like them. That's when the brand really became a positive thing. I'd killed it for 4 years. Now it became a positive thing. And just, for if you're figuring on trying to name your product or get it out there, a brand is not your trademark registration, right? A brand is not your logo. And a brand is not the product, right? Your brand is what consumers think of you. So for 4 years, I'd been beating it to death. And then when I finally hit on this image, then the brand took on a meaning, and it was so cool to have a pair of UGG boots at high school, And that was the beginning of the marketing that I did.
And what was that feeling or meaning that you believe individuals felt from the brand in that moment that they wanted to be part of?
Yeah, well, number one, you're wearing Uggs, so you know the feeling, right?
I'm wearing
Uggs. So
Uggs.
every person, and this was another big learning lesson for me. If you've never tried a pair on, you'll probably never sell a pair, right? And I found this over and over again. I was in a surf shop once, and this again is about the 5th year, and this girl walked in and she's looking at the UGG boots on the shelf, and she asked the floor manager, "What are these like?" "Oh, I don't really know. Well, they look hot. Yeah, I don't know. They could be, and well, they're expensive. Yeah, they're really expensive. And then I realized after I saw that this salesman has no idea what the product is, and so I devised probably the best marketing campaign of the entire 20 years that I owned the company.
Yeah.
And it cost almost nothing, right? I gave a free pair to the store manager in every store that would carry, say 6 pairs of boots.
Yes.
And then I was in a different shop, and a guy was in there and he said, "What are these like?" And the guy on the floor goes, "Oh my God, they're fantastic. I'm wearing them now.
I'm wearing them right now. I love these."
"Well, don't you get hot?" "No, they breathe, Well, what if you get them wet?" "Oh, you can wash them, And so suddenly you had a fan, and when it came to the price, it was like, shit, they're not expensive at all. I wear them all the time,
Yeah.
And so after that, I instructed every single one of my salespeople. By then, I had about 30 sales reps across the country. And I said, you never, ever, ever try and sell a customer UGG boots until they've tried them on. And after that, the opening rate of every store just went through the roof. And so it was the cheapest marketing campaign I ever did, but by far the most effective.
A very smart move. It's like whenever you go to a restaurant and I'm asking the waiter, like, what do you think about this dish? And they're like, oh, I've never tried it. And I'm like, have you had anything on the menu? You know?
Half of them had just had baked beans for dinner the night before, you know? I get frustrated when people ask the waiter.
Because you know it can be a totally different sell when they're like, it's amazing. It's my favorite dish. You have to try it.
Absolutely.
So that's what
and that goes for any product. It really does. The customer has to know what it is they're going to benefit from, right? Give me another widget. Oh, God, I got 50 of them in the back room. But what does it do for me? If you have a compelling case of what it's going to do, and they go, oh, my God, that's fantastic, sail over, you know?
So one thing I want to talk to you about in this whole realm of brand building is perception.
Yes.
Because a lot about what you talk about, it's not about how big you are, but how big you're perceived to be.
Yes. So I learned that lesson very early. I just stumbled by accident into this magazine called Action Sports Retailer, the very first issue.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, they're going to all the surf shops. I'm going to advertise, you know. So I went down and I met the owners of the magazine, and the guy, salesman told me, well, it's $1,000 a page, but I'll give you, if you buy 2 pages in 2 months, I'll make it $1,500, right? And I went, you got to be kidding me! I don't even have any product. And he said, I can't advertise. And he didn't miss a beat. He just looked at me and said, Brian, it's not how big you are, it's how big you are perceived to be that counts.
Yeah.
And I used that formula then. Everything I did, and this is back before internet, right? So we had to do all these paper magazines and ads and everything, but I made it always look like I was like this hugely successful company, even though we just sold 100 pairs, you know, and I wanted it to look big. And that was a really big incentive for people to want to come on board because they wanted to jump on the success.
Yes.
Where there wasn't any, but
they're buying into your vision.
They bought into the vision. That's a great way of putting it,
One of my mentors, who's authored many personal development books, Jim Cathcart, one of the quotes, he gave a TEDx talk on this, or a TED Talk, it was, how would the person I'd like to be do the things that I'm about to do?
Wow. I'm his biggest fan also.
Really? He's great.
I know Jim. He's a great guy.
So I love that quote. How would the person I'd like to be do the things that I'm about to do? So sure, maybe the brand behind the scenes isn't exactly as it's portrayed to be in the media or out in the real world, but that doesn't mean that's not exactly where it's going. If you believe in that, and you can have enough other individuals get on board with you too.
That's a great comment.
He's wonderful. It just reminded me of that when we were talking about you building your brand. I believe, as someone who has big dreams as well, many of us do, that when you start to walk the path, when you're fully committed, that the people, the places, the things start to appear to help you make it to the next level.
Yeah, all the time.
Talk to me about some points in your journey where maybe you were almost going to give up and then the right person or information or opportunity appeared because you kept going.
There's a great saying, it's pretty ancient, I believe. It's that when you start out on a path, the universe will conspire to work with you, right? And I've seen that play out over and over and over again. And I'll sort of digress here. When's the last time you saw an advertisement for a refrigerator?
Well, I don't watch TV with commercials, so can't even tell you.
Good.
Yeah.
If you needed a refrigerator next weekend, you would start seeing ads of refrigerators. You'd see them at Starbucks. The newspaper would be open and it's a page of refrigerators.
Yes.
You'd be driving down you see a store with refrigerators. But you only see that when you're in momentum, right?
If you're
sitting at home going, I wish I was getting richer, I wish I was, it's not gonna happen. But now translate that back into real businesses like your business and my business. Once you're on that path, people will go, oh, I know a guy who would really help you do this.
Yes.
And I'll go talk to him and he goes, yeah, I can do this. And then they'll say, I know somebody who could do this, I know a financier. I see you're stuck on this, And when you're in motion, the universe, like everything you could possibly want already exists in the universe.
Yes.
It's how do you get to it?
Yes.
And that's only by motion.
It's like that quote from Rumi, what you seek is seeking you.
That's right.
When you start seeking an outcome, you're kind of programming your subconscious mind and your mind for what you're looking for. And so it'll start to notice.
It'll open up, yeah.
It's now looking for these things because you start walking on the path.
I'm getting goosebumps because I've seen that happen in my own life over and over and over again. Go, God, that was not a coincidence. That was weird. And yet it's a big step forward. It's really cool.
I'd love to hear about a specific moment, if anything comes to mind, in your journey with UGG, where you almost said, this is it, I can't go any further. And you decided to persevere. And soon after, an event like this occurred that almost felt like a miracle because you decided to keep going.
Yeah. This is sort of a long story, but through my financings, which I was never very good at, I brought in these new partners and we were all going to own the company 25% each. But I didn't get my 25% until I finished a little trademark lawsuit that I was on. And I was going to be a full-time sales rep now, so they were going to handle all the business part of it. And so I helped them move the factory up to Anaheim where the new warehouse was going to be. And I finally went on the road. And the very first customer I walked into was a good friend of mine at Huntington Surf and Sport. And he said, hey, Brian, I heard you sold the company. I went, what? He said, yeah, I called an order in this morning. They said, you don't own the company anymore. You're kidding me. And so I called up one of my new partners.
Yeah.
And I said, what are you telling people? And he says, well, you don't own the company. You don't get your stock issued until, And I just went into this humongous depression and I drove straight back to San Diego and I opened up the contract and I looked at the actual wording and I went, oh, shit. I thought I was bringing in 3 new partners because we were all going to have 25.
Yeah.
And now I didn't even own it. And that was, serious depression.
Yeah.
And for about 3 days, I didn't speak to anybody outside of my wife.
This was your baby.
Yeah. I'd seen myself as a, CEO of this huge international shoe company. And now I didn't even own it, And it was on the third night that, I was lying on my back on the floor watching TV and the show finished, I clicked it off and I rolled over on my stomach and I started crawling to the bedroom.
Oh my gosh.
And my wife at the time, she was really quiet, right? But she looked at me and said, you get up and walk to bed like a man, And it snapped me out of it. As I came out, this fog I was in, I thought, oh my God, there's so much more to life in this business.
Yeah.
And so the next day I got back into meditating and being positive again. And I thought, what can I do with my life? And again, I got those goosebumps and I thought, shit, I love sales. What can I sell? And then I thought, UGG boots.
Yes.
So I went back to the guys at Anaheim. I said, look, I may never own the company, but I promise you I'm going to try and get a pair on every person I can. And so, I went on the road and came back after a month and he handed me an envelope with a check for $5,000. And this was in the 6th year of the company.
Okay.
And it was the first money I'd ever pulled out.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And they got next month 10,000, next month another 10,000. And it leads me to, in my book, I talk about that story. And the conclusion is that nearly always your most disappointing disappointments will become your greatest blessings. And I have seen that play out over and over. I speak a lot from the stage, and every time I say, who can remember something in the last 6 months that at the time you thought was a disaster, and now you look back and think, thank God that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
Oh, yeah.
80% people put their hand up.
It takes time to get there, but there are some people who stay on the ground and they never get up.
Yeah. If you wallow in self-pity, you defeat yourself.
Yeah.
You've just got to be prepared to just say, okay, what's next?
The accountability, the victim mindset versus the visionary mindset.
Yeah. Oh, poor me. Why did this happen to me?
Right.
The world's not fair,
So unfair. Yeah.
But the sooner you can spin it, and you can do it in one day, just say, okay, what's good about this?
Right.
it's uncanny how fast you'll find a replacement. Yeah.
Focus on what you want, not what you don't want,
That's
and
right.
to be solution-oriented.
That's right.
And we're big here on wellness modalities, which we talked about.
Okay.
And so I want to hear about how, I know you did a lot of yoga and meditation when you were first building your brand.
Yes.
How did those help with your personal growth and perhaps your business growth?
Tremendously, especially meditation. There were times, the days were so long and so stressful and you'd hardly get a break in between. But two things I could do. One was get out and ride my bike up the highest hill in San Diego, which is like 800 feet, right?
Okay.
That was a great aerobic burst.
Yes.
But the other part of it was when I get back home, I would just spend a half hour quietly meditating, and all the pressure that you're under, because you have got a physiological different body now.
Yeah.
Suddenly the solutions start coming. And it's all from, I feel so strongly there's a greater power than us. And there's a fragment of God in every single one of us. And it's a perfect piece of God, right? And it knows what it wants us to do in this life. And that's why, I've talked about goosebumps a couple of times. Every time I go and meditate and some new thing comes along, it comes with goosebumps. And I know now that it's my inner being telling me, you got it, Brian, that you're on the right track. Keep going.
That spark.
So meditation, I did it yesterday. Yeah, I'll probably do it tonight.
And does that look like you just sitting in silence?
There's no right way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, because we each have our own unique practice of how we do it.
The ideal way is to be quiet. Just sit there. I got my little finger thing here, and I just sit there and be quiet. I don't ask for anything. I don't, really want anything. I just wait for
it to come.
The calm to come. And when you're calm, your mind frees up.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I've also heard you talk about the power of affirmations and optimism. Were there certain affirmations or things you would say to yourself?
Usually the ones that I remember, these are all in there's lots of philosophy in this book, by the way, and spirituality. My favorite one is that the quickest way for a tadpole to become a frog is to live every day happily as a tadpole, right? And what that does, it puts you in the now. Instead of, what do I got to do tomorrow? What's going to happen if that thing? Oh, these people over here, I should have done this. And, if you come back and live every day happily in the day that you're in, the rest takes care of itself. And so, 6 months later, you look back and go, oh, my God, I'm a frog.
Oh, yeah. The now is all we really know to be true, and it's all that we have. And I'm so grateful to be sitting with you in this moment live on this podcast. Yeah. So on the flip side of the affirmations and the wellness, or in addition to it, I know this power of trust and the topic of trust, because when you're building a business, you often have to trust people quickly when you're building a team.
Yes.
How did you learn to eventually tune into your intuition to ensure that you were surrounding yourself with individuals who were trustworthy? And what are some advice you have for our listeners?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, building a team is one of the hardest things because everybody thinks differently, right? There's a great saying, two people can sit in the same pew in the same church for 50 years, they still won't think alike, right? And so everyone's coming in with their own issue and agenda. They maybe want to rise to the top, or maybe they just want a job or whatever. But I've found, and I've built several businesses, and this theme stays true, is that there's a stage you have to go through, and it's really cruel, but I call them scaffolding employees. Right? They're the ones that your friend's friend, and then some guy who didn't have anything to do wants to join you, and you bring them all in, and you're a great team, and everyone's laughing and happy, and you do trade shows, and it's fun, but then it becomes a more serious business. Yeah. And these guys are useless on the next level. So you have to start bringing in better people, more qualified people, maybe some from the industry. And unfortunately, you have to let these friends go. Yeah. It's brutal. Yeah. I mean, my heart bleeds every time I have to do it. But that's what growing a business is all about, is getting really not qualified, but smart people who are in alignment with your vision. And you know, you can take it a long, long way.
I was going to say the alignment is key.
It's critical,
and making the changes you know you need to make when you realize you need to make them. And I've struggled with that as someone growing a business.
Every entrepreneur does.
Change is hard. Letting go is hard when the timing is no longer right. But the sooner you can do it, the better, because then you and that individual will find something more aligned for themselves going forward.
And those people that you let go, they always find something. Always. Nobody ever died from me firing them, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So true. So Brian, you know, many of our listeners, they look at this here, what you've built, and they're so inspired, and they're thinking like, I too one day would love to build a brand that generates $2.2 billion a year in revenue. Who wouldn't?
I never saw that coming. Yeah.
From the beginning, what was your vision for it? Did you have this big grand vision?
Yeah. I figured if like, I was looking for a business to take to Australia, right? But when I realized, oh my God, there's no sheepskin boots here.
Yeah.
Australia's population was 25 million. America was 250 million. So it's like, oh my God, I'm going to be 10 times more successful this way.
Yeah.
So I remembered how many people wore them in Australia, and I always envisioned that many people in America wearing them.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating for those first 4 or 5 years when I hadn't figured out the marketing and the advertising. But once I hit on that, I was able to take that surf push and then, snowboarding. Just started snowboarding, right? Yeah. And so I advertised all the young kids in the snowboarding area. And then back east, you know, there's no surf, there's not much snowboarding. And I remember asking a sporting goods dealer, well, what do the kids do here in the winter for sport? And he rolled his eyes and go, well, they play hockey, you know. And when I like Australians don't know that, right? But when I looked it up, and I went, oh my God, that's way bigger than surfing, you know. Yeah. And so I started marketing to all the youth hockey players, and always to the youth, because they're the ones that control the purse strings.
Very smart.
Mom's always got the money. If you can whine long enough and loud enough, you'll get it.
So remind me, what year would you say you filed the trademark for UGG?
It was 1980.
1980. And what year did you see your first profits coming in?
About 5 years later.
5 years. So 5 to 6 year.
I mean, we had little profits along the way, but not enough to sustain you for a year.
Right.
So the first annual profit was in like year 6 or 7. Yeah.
So many give up too soon.
All the time. They're in that infancy stage and they think, oh, I'm never going to get out of this. It's not working. It's no good. You know, you have to have a lot of faith to make it through that period.
So looking back, what do you attribute most to your success?
Just the perseverance.
Perseverance.
Yeah. Always thinking that you know, it looks like really shitty at the moment, but you know, there's got to be a solution, and there always was.
Solution-oriented, and that action, just keep moving forward.
But mostly perseverance, because defeat's not a real thing until the second you give up. That's when defeat becomes real.
And I'm curious for you, beyond UGG, what is the legacy you wish to leave behind for what you're truly remembered for?
Well, from a young age, like 16 or 17 years old, I just decided I want to leave the planet better off than where I found it. And I look around now and I see that, you know, $2 billion worth of sheepskin boots out there, and I bet you every single person loves them. You know, I think I've made my mark, right? In that one little area. I'm nothing. If you look at the whole shoe industry, with Nike and Reebok and you know, Hoka, all those companies, I'm just this tiny little sliver of it, right? But that's 2.2 billion sliver. And so I'm really proud of what I've done.
As you should be. You should be. I'm so grateful to have you here. And what I loved when you signed the book that I have, that I just finished of yours, you said, enjoy the ride.
That's what life is. You just, we're here for a reason. You know, this little spark in here came here for a reason. It wants experience.
It does.
right?
It wants to be alive. It wants to feel alive.
It's made in perfection, has zero experience. We have no perfection, but we got the experience. And it's that marriage of the two of us that creates the soul. And when we die, that all that knowledge that it's learned over 50 years, 60, 100 years, however long we live here, that's what we take to the next level. And it's a brilliant system, brilliant system.
So as we begin to wrap up, anything else we haven't touched on that you would like to leave our audience with today?
Well, I'm always asked the question, why did you sell? Right?
I thought I may have missed that opportunity to dive in there when the story came. So yes, let's touch on that.
So people are always curious about that. And the reason it just got too big for me. I love this chaos and the uncertainty of startups, and I've done many of them. And I also coach and mentor other people who are starting out. But I did not see myself being part of a big company. And even at, it's got up to about 15 million, and we're already having closed door meetings and backstabbing and shit going on in the company. And I just chose not to be part of that. And so I was very lucky. I ran into this guy, Doug Otto, who started a business, and he had built it into Teva sandals.
Okay.
And he took his company public, and of all places, I was in the baggage claim at Atlanta airport going to a trade show, and he was there. And we'd seen each other for 20 years, in and out of surf shops.
Yeah.
And I knew he was sitting on about $30 million in cash from his IPO.
Sure.
And so I just went, Doug, we high-fived, and I said, if ever we're going to do it, now's the time. And so I sold that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the other question people ask me is, now that it's 2.2 billion, do you regret?
Right.
Do you regret selling the company? And my attitude is that, just like this, I'd conceived the idea.
Yes.
I bought those samples. That was the birth of UGG. We had this horrible infancy for 3 or 4 years when I was doing that horrible advertising.
Yeah.
And then we hit the toddling stage when we, figured out the free pair for the managers. And then that grew, and we went into the whole teenage years. I went through some pretty shaky times in the teenage period. But then when I sold it to Doug, it was like walking my daughter down the aisle.
Wow, I have chills right now.
And handing it off to this big company that could go out and make babies and,
oh my gosh.
and grow. And so I am getting goosebumps again.
I have full-on chills.
Because I'm so proud of what that brand became.
Well, cheers to you.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you for taking the time. Where can our listeners follow you, enjoy more of your journey, maybe book you for a speaking engagement? Where can they find you to do all of that?
My website is briansmithspeaker.com. And my personal email is brian@briansmithspeaker.com. And I love talking to entrepreneurs all over I've been doing it since 2014, since I finished the book. And I just love speaking to entrepreneurial groups, business groups, sales groups, anyone that needs motivation, that you've got a big sales meeting coming up, for instance, and you want to just wow the heck out of them.
Yeah.
And, I've spoken to, 2,200 in the biggest audience, and all the way down to average about 120. But it's always real. Afterwards, they just keep coming up. Oh my God, Brian, thank you so much. And that's what makes me want to keep doing it,
And you were doing this. You were building a brand before you were able to have a cell phone and Instagram in your pocket, right? So you had to learn the tried and true ways to really grow from the ground up.
In fact, the year I sold it was 1995. I sold it, and that was the year the first desktop computers came out. Right, so we didn't even have email.
My gosh.
We didn't even have emails.
Yeah. Wow, incredible. I mean, I'm sure you can think of so many different ways you could have now used social media to market it.
Well, the social media is just a hyped up version of the magazines I advertised in, right? It's the principles of marketing have not changed one bit. It's just the methodology and the technology now makes you do it faster. Remember that how you perceived
perception
topic we were on?
Yeah.
to look big back then was really, really hard because everything was so expensive to produce. Mm-hmm. Now, if you've got a good web developer, or you can even, AI probably does it for you now.
Yes.
Where you can have a website that makes you look like $1 million, $1 billion.
Yeah.
At the drop of a hat. They don't have to know you're working out of your garage,
It's so true. It's so true. The instant gratification sharing of media, you can almost be like your own publicist on your platform.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Ugg, it has been such a pleasure. I just have one more question because I want to hear your answer.
Okay.
Your biggest piece of advice or mindset shift for a new entrepreneur who has big dreams and visions?
Yeah, the most important thing, get started. Don't hold on to it like it's the most precious thing in the world. Get started, get it out there, use the feedback, and then you'll find that you may be on a 20-year path of improvement. Yeah. But if you don't start, the universe will never work with you.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Brian Smith, Mr. Ugg, thank you so much for coming on today.
My pleasure. This was great. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.